Hello, hello. Right, I just wanted to do a amplifier update. So in my last video, I was walking through how to set up the amplifier, how to lay out your parts with your power transformer, and where you want your tubes and things like that to evade any kind of radio interference. But this is how so far. So if you've seen some pictures, I've got some pictures of it on my Facebook page. But the speaker will be laying on it like this, and you'll have your volume control, your tone control, and then your input jack here. I still have to put some holes in here for the two LEDs, for a power on LED and then a standby switch LED. One of the suppliers forgot to send them to me, so I'm waiting on those. But this is how it's come out. The sides and the top are poplar wood, and the top of this is red oak. So this is red oak here, and the mount for the speaker and the sides are poplar. I'm fairly happy with how it's come out so far. Everything's going good. Here's your back panel. So here's your power, your fuse, your on switch. This will be a standby switch. And I actually did something I wasn't anticipating doing, and something that wasn't on the schematic or anything that I talk about in previous videos, was the possibility of putting a preamp out. But just in the middle of tooling around and getting the chassis ready, I figured I'd put a jack in here for a preamp out. Now, in the next coming days, maybe even later on today, I'll make another video on how to put that preamp jack into the circuit, where to tap it. It's pretty easy. I mean, you're just going to tap it in the middle of, pretty much between the 6SN7 and the KT66. You just want to make sure there's no DC voltage going there. But anyway, yeah, we'll cover that in another video. So that's one of the most recent modifications. Other than that, it's pretty solid. This is what the inside looks like. So as you can see, there's plenty of room. You know, this amplifier could have been maybe half as big as it is. The only reason it's this large is because of the way I'm mounting the speaker on top of it. But this will be your amplifier section. This is all where the signal path is going to go. And then you'll have your power section here, which I haven't laid that out yet. Now I'll show you something. This is a critical part of the process. Obviously, you know, this part of me doing this vlog was to show and itemize, you know, the parts of, you know, developing an amplifier and building it. This part here that I've been doing for the past couple weeks, which is really just, which was making the chassis, you know, isn't a mandatory thing. You know, there's places where you can get chassis, you know, Hammond manufacturers, they make chassis. You can get those at Antique Electronic Supply. You can get them at Tube Depot. There's tons of websites that sell enclosures for electronics, so you don't have to go and build it from scratch. This is just something that I like to do. But aside from that, I do want to show one thing. So whether you're going to build the chassis yourself or not, you still want to make a layout of how the electronics are going to go. So part of what we've done electrically is we figured out, okay, what kind of amplifier we wanted, what kind of components we wanted to use, how we wanted to enclose them and all that. And then we figured out, okay, how we're going to lay it out on on this chassis. But obviously we're doing point-to-point wiring here, right? We're doing everything point-to-point, so we're not dealing with any PCB boards. Because of that, you want to lay out the circuit, how everything's going to be wired inside internally before you ever start soldering anything. So I'll just hold this up here. This is pretty much a rough. I might change a couple of these things. There's no values on here yet, but this is just a layout that I was sketching out the other day. So this is what you want to do, and then I'll have another layout over here for the power section. I haven't done that yet. This is what you're going to want to do is get an idea, actually get an absolute and defined scheme on how everything's going to be laid out. So I have terminal strips with 6 prongs on each of them. And that will dictate where my components are going to be throughout the circuit. So when I do start building it, I do start the soldering, and I just put the components in their respective places, and you connect those points, and it'll all be clean and precise. Now the thing that we're really trying to do here, just as trying to discern where to put certain parts on the layout to try to get rid of any kind of EMI or RF interference. What we're doing here mostly in the circuit is we're trying to keep things close together. So that's another thing, to keep radio frequencies out. But I mean, it'll do a lot of things. I mean, it'll keep your impedance down, your resistance down, inductance down. So the thing that we're going to pay close attention to when we're laying out a circuit, especially a point-to-point circuit, is distance. So we want everything to be really close. So if you see, like for instance, I have this this terminal strip, and it's coming right into the pins of that octal socket. So the thing here to keep in mind when laying out a point-to-point wiring circuit is to keep everything short. So this is also why if you remember from the last video when I talked about the layout and how I wanted these controls really close to the tubes, because my input will be here and this will be my input tube. So it's got a very short distance, and then I have my tone control, and the tone control circuit will be kind of in the middle of these 2 tubes. So it's really close. The volume control will be in the same place as well. But as far as this input, so if you see the input and how close the input jack is to the first terminal strip, that will go into a resistor and then straight into this octal socket. So that's what we're going to focus on here. When you're building the signal path, what you want to focus on is keeping everything really close, keeping all your leads short, all your wiring short, making everything as compact as possible, and also avoiding any power lines, which we shouldn't have a problem here. This should come out really nice. It should be laid out really nice. Yeah, it should be really pleasant to look at once it's all wired up and everything, because there's so much space in here, and the circuit for both the power supply and the amplifier itself is fairly simple. Another thing we want to keep in mind for the power supply is heat, maybe. I don't think here we're not going to have too much heat because we're not drawing that much current out of anything. But distance between parts becomes a little less important in the power supply, but maybe more important is heat management. And obviously, staying away from having any shorts or anything like that. So always paying attention to where your B plus, your positive lines are and all that. But that's pretty much it for right now. I might get back on it today. Just wanted to give an update of where it's at. In the last video, I was just getting started to laying it out and didn't have anything built, so it's come quite a long way, and we're getting closer and closer to the fun part of actually, soldering the components and putting it on the test bench. Well, I appreciate you watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you.